Did you play last week? I did. We played on Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning. It was about, we started at about 45 degrees. Back down windy because it's right on the bay. So 13, I was contemplating the wisdom of what I played when I used to country. I'm sorry? Yes, I do.
You gotta watch the
That's
Yeah, do all the job.
we ate. That means we're on. Worked it out. Get the message. That's what they can't.
Yeah, but you see who got the picture.
The notice requirement provided for the open public meeting law has been satisfied. Notice was properly given. Said notice having been transmitted to the Courier News and Star Ledger on Wednesday, October 10, 2018, as well as posting on the bulletin board in the city clerk's office. May I have a roll call, please?
Council members Amati. Here. Councilman Good.
Present.
Councilman Hockaday. Here. Councilman Stewart is absent during roll call. Councilwoman Tolliver.
Here.
Vice President Mills Lansky.
Present.
Council President Craig.
Present.
We have 6 members present and
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his spirit on all those who work for justice and peace. Amen.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 9th, 2018?
Motion.
May I have a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstention? Mr. Clerk, are there any communications from the mayor?
Yes, from His Honor the Mayor, Adrian Lamap, correspondence dated November 1st, 2018, addressed to members of the governing body. He is requesting the advice and consent of Donald Brown, Maritza Martinez, and Steve Holmes to serve as members of the Plainfield Public Library Board of Trustees. And that includes communications from the mayor.
Can I have a motion to suspend the regular meeting order of business to allow for the police chief presentation on the certificate of accreditation, followed by the recreation division presentation and best practices and the public hearing on deer management?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Gentlemen, if you could also come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chief John Zaborowski. I am a accreditation commissioner for the New Jersey State Chiefs Association, and it is indeed my honor this evening, and I saw that Director Mason is here as well. Can any of you come up? He's also one of our commissioners. This evening, we're bestowing upon you the accreditation certificate. Understand that this is no easy feat to be able to receive this certification. There is less than 1/3 of departments of the 500 plus municipalities in New Jersey that are accredited. Yours is now one of them. To be able to get here was a lot of hard work and a lot of determination. And I gotta tell you, I know why, because I've never met someone so as enthusiastic and ready to go as your director. And I had a wonderful opportunity to get a walk around of your station today and meet a lot of the command staff as well as a lot of your officers. And boy, I am extremely impressed. You have some department here and one to absolutely be proud of. Now you say, what is accreditation? Accreditation really is best practices, and that means that your department is practicing certain standards that are both at a national and state level. It's pretty cool when you think about it. Not every department can do it, not every department can make that achievement, and not every department can live it. And that's probably the most important thing, because how does it make your town, how does it make your city better? It makes it better because your officers are more responsive, they're more transparent. They're in the streets and they're doing their job because they have clear rules of what they have to do and how they do it. So they know that they're accountable to this command staff behind, and accountable to you as well. It's a very, very important issue there. It is a living and breathing document. That's the only way it can be. That's the only way that you can succeed with that. And I know with your command staff and with your director that that is exactly what it will be. So I don't want to take a lot of time from you this evening, but I can't stress enough how extremely important this achievement is for your city and for your police department. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to your director, Director Riley, the accreditation certificate. And a round of applause.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I cannot be here. I would not have been here if it was not the support of these gentlemen back here. And not only gentlemen, I have many female officers, such as the two in the back there, Officer Holloman and Ali Owl. They are also very supportive. Lieutenant Sylvester and Sergeant Alston, I see back from our special unit. Like I said, I thank the members of the mayor, council, citizens for your full support of the police department. Director Mason, you've been great. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. And thank you all. Appreciate it. So go around the table. Thank you. Thank you again, guys. Yep, we'll get a photo here, and I'll be back. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. I'll be back.
We will now have the recreation update.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to bring you brief updates on current recreation programs and future recreation programs. Well, I'm presenting to the council, so I please ask the members of the public to pardon my back. Everyone knows about the great programs we already do. They know basketball, wrestling, we have 6 pools, you know we do swimming. Some of the things that people aren't aware that we do are our workforce development programs. This came out of when I came here in 2014 through CDBG, the Community Block Grant. We secured grants and we hired junior park monitors. They're 14-year-olds, which you all know that it's very difficult for 14-year-olds to enter the workforce. So we specialize through our CDBG grant in hiring 14-year-olds. We have 300 acres of park space. We have to teach people to be stewards of that space. We have to teach them the history of that space so that it can be enjoyed for generations to come. So part of that program, we did that for 3 and 4 years. We brought 14 and 15-year-olds in. We trained them about the history of our parks. We talked to them about plants that were native to the area, animals that were native to the area, different kinds of activities, and how you maintain fields, which is it's a job skill they can take on if they're interested. So then after that, what's our next largest asset that we have in Parks and Recreation other than our land? It's our 6 pools. No other town in Union County has 6 free municipal pools. Now to operate those pools, we need a complement of minimally 60 lifeguards per year. You know, and when you talk, if you go to any one of the 21 municipalities, they'll tell you how difficult it is to find and train and keep lifeguards. So we went from, we moved our funding purpose from CDBG, from park monitors, to what I created was a lifeguard, an aquatics academy. So we were very fortunate to get funding. So lifeguard class is $400. As per our ordinance, we only charge Plainfield residents $50. And as you know, as we try to introduce diversity into the field of aquatics, we have to make it affordable. So we underwrite, we make an investment in young people in this community. We get them trained as lifeguards. We don't mandate they work for us, but certainly we offer a very nice work environment, and we are able to retain a lot of them. If they come back the next year and they're interested in a career in aquatics, the next step is a water safety instructor. We underwrite that class as well, another $400 class. We make an investment in these young people. As well, you know, the 2 anchors in our community have closed that teach swimming. The YWCA has an indoor pool and the YMCA had an indoor pool. Unfortunately, both of those anchors have now closed. The other indoor pools are Plainfield High School and the Black United Fund. The Black United Fund does not allow outside use of their pool, so all classes we teach are at Plainfield High School. With these 2 anchors gone, and with black and brown children dying at a disproportionate rate to other communities because of drowning, it is a moral obligation that we step up, and we're going to have to increase the number of lessons that we provide. Now, one of the ways we can do that, we'll partner with the high school. Now that the YMCA won't get the Learn to Swim grant, we'll apply for that grant. We'll partner with the school district, and hopefully we'll be able to provide kindergarten classes through 3rd grade at the high school swim lessons through the Division of Parks and Recreation. So getting back to aquatics. So now at the 2nd level, water safety instructor. Now if I have by now these kids are in college. So I have some aquatic professionals that yes, they go to college and they do come back. Now we give them an opportunity to take the Certified Pool Operators course. Another $300 course that we ask them to have some skin in the game. We make an investment in these young people. They can become certified pool operators, which is the license that you need to operate pools here. And again, that's just careers in aquatics. So one of the things, our next level that we're going to share is, and I shared with, thank you again, I want to take a moment to thank the Parks and Recreation Committee, Council President, Council Vice President, and Councilman Good. The next level we would like to take it in careers in recreation. We have a Careers and Recreation Club that meets, we tried to meet after school. That wasn't working. These kids want jobs, they have other things to do at 4 o'clock. But we've been met with some success. The schools allowed us to meet during lunchtime. So we come in. It's an opportunity for me to try to develop the workforce that I'm going to need for aquatics, for parks, and everything else. It's a career in recreation. One of the Careers and Recreation Club. One of the other things we try to expose the young people to is, everyone knows, there's a beginning and an end to your playing career. You're not going to be bowling. Bowling may be life, but you're not going to be bowling all your life. But that doesn't mean that you can't share the love of your sport. We need statisticians, we need athletic trainers, we need scorekeepers, we need coaches. So through the Careers and Recreation Club, we're able to expose young people to these careers. I, of course, get to cultivate a love for this profession that I love. Our next level that we're going to apply for CDBG in the 2019 year will be for the referee program. Now, referee programs, we're going to start with basketball. Why? Because I have a recreation basketball program, and I'm in need of referees. If a 9th grader starts refereeing basketball in 9th grade and they stay with the cohort, and they get their hours in, when they graduate high school, they can go, if they have enough hours under their belt, they can be qualified to go referee Division III basketball games. Now, recreation level pays you $20. High school, $50, $75. D3 games put some more money in their pockets. So we're trying to raise up the next generation of parks and recreation leaders so that, number one, I get to fill all our jobs with Plainfield residents, and again, we get to build the workforce that we need to govern our 300 acres of open space, our 6 pools, and just make a difference in this community. So I wanted to focus on upcoming programs and things that people may not know anything about. And I was reminded by my director at the beginning of this presentation, I'm to let you know that a full presentation from the whole Department of DPW and Urban Development is forthcoming with more information about all our divisions. And thank you again for your time.
Okay, best practices.
Good evening, Council. We are required on an annual basis to respond to a best practices questionnaire from DCA. Last year, there were 30 questions. This year, there were 61 that you're required to answer, plus there was a survey. And this can be revenue impacting because you're required to come up with a certain number of correct answers in order to not have any revenue to be received from the state will impact it. So we were required to come up with at least 46 yeses. We had 56 or a pass rate of 92%. You require at least a pass rate of 75% in order to not be penalized by the state. End of report.
Any questions? Mr. Oliver? Mr. Hopperman? Mr. Good? Mr. Stewart?
Congratulations.
No questions.
Mr. Ransom? Okay. Thank you. A public hearing on recommendations for deer management will take place tonight as advertised. As 30 minutes have been allocated, each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. This is a discussion about deer management. There are no deer management programs on the table at this point in time. The floor is now open.
Good evening, Maria and Sari, Watchung Avenue, Plainfield. Excuse my laryngitis. Sidetrack, congratulations to the police department. It really was a proud feeling to see them. Killing deer doesn't work. Don't dismiss me as just an animal activist. I'm against cruelty and violence, as well as being against ineffective and wasteful government. Killing living beings who simply follow a food source is a lousy message to be given to the children and other residents of Plainfield. Many of our children here in Plainfield really don't have a lot of interaction with either companion animals or wildlife in a positive manner. The Animal Initiative Committee is willing to participate in whatever way to offer positive programs for children. Just a sideline there. Complaints can be reduced humanely as well as for the long term. Killing does not affect long-term reduction of complaints. The deer kill of last year only served to antagonize neighbors and increase our mistrust of the elected officials who seem to fail us. We call for living in harmony in a peaceful Plainfield. No more kills. Thank you.
My name is Andy Well-Known. I'm a resident of Plainfield for 45 years. And I too want to congratulate the police. I had the use of the police one time when I came in. I was asleep, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I heard this crash. I knew somebody broke into my house, called up the police. These 2 guys came in, and one of them was one of my former students at Cook School when I was principal. They walked through the house. They found out that one of the plants fell off the windowsill in the kitchen and crashed. So I'm thankful for them, but I felt good having these 2 guys make sure that I was safe. The other thing I'd like to say, I want to refer what I'm about to say to the gentleman who gave the invocation earlier, talked about peace and charity. I think what I'm going to say to you has a lot to do with that. I too would like to urge you about the deer kill. I urge you to not do it. Mahatma Gandhi said, a nation, a city, is judged by the way it treats its animals. And I would say to you that Scripture too speaks to motivation. So my question is, what is the motivation for a deer kill? Is it to control overpopulation? Killing the deer is not the way to do it. Let's find a way to feed them. Not long ago, I attended a workshop here in Plainfield at the library by a gentleman named Bruce Crawford from Rutgers, who has given us examples, very easy, simple examples of feeding the deer and protecting your plants. If you want plants, you're afraid the deer are going to eat your hosta, and you're going to kill the deer, it just gives me chills to think that you would even think that. Let's find a way to feed them. You see, my concern is the motivation. What is the motivation for a deer kill? Is it flowers? Is it the thrill of the kill? Is it money? I don't want to judge anybody, but I ask you to please give consideration to that. I urge you not to kill these deer. They're beautiful creatures. I walk 2 Siberian Huskies regularly on these streets. I'm walking up Evergreen Avenue the other day. This is just recently. And as I turned to my left on the lawn, there was a deer following me. Not more than from me to you away. As I walked a few steps further, there was a second deer came after him. Then there was a third. And I'm not kidding you. I got to my house. There were 4 beautiful deer following me and my 2 Huskies, as if they just belonged together. They're God's creatures. Please don't kill them. Find a way to protect them over plants. I get it. Thank you very much.
My name is Charles Sporn. I live on Woodland Avenue. I've been here for Plainfield for 21 years.
Address.
960 Woodland. I'm not expecting applause for what I'm about to say, but I think that it needs to be said. So far there has been, well, I'll refer back to an article that appeared in the New York Times a couple of weeks ago concerning the issue of deer. And basically, I think the article is called Deer Are Not Being Very Good Neighbors. And I think that that's a fair description of what we have in Plainfield today. There does not seem to be any way of controlling the population of deer. We certainly can't create the open space that would fill in, which drove the deer from places such as the other end of Woodland Avenue, where there used to be a couple of estates, and when they got developed about 10 years ago, the deer began to overrun the Sleepy Hollow area. And I don't want to turn this into a question of one person's aesthetics, the use of property. I will say that we are gardeners, and that our yard has become a transit point for deer moving from one part of Plainfield to another. Sometimes we have birds, I chase them out, they come back. It's all very frustrating. We have spent thousands of dollars in fencing. We have spent thousands of dollars buying chemicals to treat the plants that we grow. But as I said, I want to frame this in terms of what I believe is a serious public health issue. My wife has had Lyme disease not once, not twice, but 4 times. She is currently taking antibiotics for the latest round of Lyme disease. Couldn't be here tonight because of that. And if this was an animal which did not give rise to the aesthetics that deer obviously do and the feelings that deer do, I think that we will be approaching this in a very different way. If it was a form of vermin such as rats or mice or something like that, I think that we've been out in full force making every attempt that we could to eradicate them. I don't pretend to have a solution to this which would be considered to be humane. However, I believe that the culling of the herd was the only way that this could be approached, and I would advocate that that practice continue. Thank you.
This is what happens when you're short. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. When I came to Plainfield 27 years ago,
Can I have your name and address?
when I came to Plainfield, my name is Joyce Antilla Phipps. I live at 1200 Martine Avenue. It's at the corner of Kensington and Martine, just a couple of blocks down from the high school. And when I came to Plainfield 26 years ago, it was a very different city. I will tell you that Plainfield has incredibly improved. I think that part of that improvement has been the way in which people have looked at the natural environment around where they live. And I think part of the natural environment has been the existence of the deer that follow people when they walk around, the deer that walk through our neighborhoods. And I have deer on my lawn, and I have hostas, and the deer eat my hostas, but quite frankly, we've destroyed so much of their habitat that we don't leave very much for them to eat. I think what's really important, and what I found particularly interesting, was in the last several years, as friends of mine have moved into New Jersey, part of what I've said is, yes, Plainfield is a city, you have great access to New York, you have great access, good public transportation, and you have deer. And people have said to me, that must mean it's a very peaceful place. And I find that particularly interesting. Plainfield is a peaceful place, a place that's really improved so much over the last 25 years that we've been able to see God's creatures walking among us, not being afraid of people, knowing to keep their distance. They are wild animals. But what it really has shown people here in this city is that it's a beautiful, peaceful place. And I think that that is part of the image that you really want to have for Plainfield. Thank you very much.
Lyle Kemner, 1295 Denmark. First of all, I'd like to thank the council for hearing public concern over the deer patrol in our city. I'm sure it comes as no surprise to any of you that there is an increasingly large population of deer that now reside and continue to reproduce in Plainfield. As a resident in Netherwood Heights section, it has become common for me to see large packs of deer on our property and in the streets. My specific concerns about the abundance of deer are as follows. The ticks that they carry and the fecal matter pose a threat to humans and pets, and this is especially concerning for our children. They roam our streets with no fear of creating a potential safety hazard with cars. In fact, today I spoke with a neighbor who told me that she witnessed a deer get struck this morning on Watchung Avenue. The police were dispatched and had to shoot the injured deer, which was then removed. Finally, the deer are constantly destroying our property, which I imagine is something Councilman Storch can attest to personally, as he lives in the neighborhood. At the request of the mayor, I've received a letter from Mr. Sanchez on the subject of deer control, which noted the following regarding Plainfield's participation in the Union County Deer Management Program. Unfortunately, many residents were dissatisfied with this program since it is based on professional hunting of the deer population. Further, because the program captured fewer than 10 deer last year, the administration decided not to participate in the program this year. We are continuing to search for the cost-effective and efficient options to address this town, city, and statewide issues. It concerns me that Plainfield has chosen to abandon this option after only 1 year. This is the only method of control currently available and sanctioned by Union County. I hope this administration will reconsider Plainfield's participation in future years. I am, however, glad to hear that Plainfield is continuing the search for other cost-effective solutions, and I want to offer some information I received during a discussion with the Deer Control Division at New Jersey Department of Fish and Wildlife. The Environmental Protection Agency has approved the contraceptive vaccine Zonistat D for the management of deer population, also referred to as the PCP vaccine. This vaccine has been approved federally by the EPA, but is not yet approved for use in New Jersey. And here's a quote from the Humane Society article about the PCP vaccine, which gets delivered to the deer using a non-lethal dart and costs approximately $21 per dosage. Having treated many hundreds of deer with the PCP PCB, Humane Society scientists, and other researchers have abundant evidence to demonstrate that it's safe for the animals, doesn't pass through the food chain, and is effectively reducing the reproductive process. When used properly, PCB reduces spawning rates by 85 to 95%. The EPA's approval of the vaccine confirms those conclusions. This vaccine is a non-lethal and cost-effective solution which may be of great help in solving the issue we are here discussing today. However, the only way that will be possible is if New Jersey grants approval for its usage. In closing, I would ask the Council to do anything they can to help progress its approval, and I will be working with Union County as well to do the same. Thank you very much.
Ellie Campoli, 1158 Woodmere Place. Thank you for giving us this forum this evening, as we didn't have a chance to have a forum last year, so we really appreciate this. I've lived in Plainfield about 25 years, and the deer have always been there. Usually on any given day, there's an abundance of deer that cross over my property, walk down the street. It hasn't changed this year, last year, the year before, the year before, the year before. So in my opinion, the deer kill, eliminating 10 deer, made no difference in the amount of deer that are in Plainfield. It did not effectively cause a reduction in the herd. I don't know if before you voted, if there was any research done to see if killing the deer was an effective method. I think the gentleman that just spoke before me made some very good points that research is really important. To know that what's the best way to do this? What's the most effective way to do this? Learning to live in harmony is always a good way. Learning to cohabitate with them. We took their land, we took their space, and as we know, Woodland Avenue is really not Woodland Avenue anymore with the building of the McMansions. We took a lot of their space, we drove them out, so they don't really have too many places to go. I'd like to address the issue of Lyme disease. I have Lyme disease, I've had it probably 25 years. How I got it, I don't know. I will tell you in my research that the people who are doing the research about Lyme disease, it's not just the ticks, it is also any insect that bites, it is fleas, it is ticks that can spread this disease, and there are over 300,000 cases reported each year, and they believe now that it is probably sexually transmitted. So it's not just the ticks, and it's not the deer. This is information from the Humane Society of the United States. Even when the deer population is reduced by as much as 86% or to as low as 9 deer per square mile, tick numbers do not decline enough to reduce tick reproduction or human disease. If you are really trying to exterminate Lyme disease by focusing on the tick's hosts, that's the animals, that would mean killing most mice, chipmunks, squirrels, raccoons, skunks, rabbits, popular songbirds, and even lizards. A costly, unachievable, socially unacceptable proposition.
Council President, time is up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Dr. Gloria Winkowski, 1117 Woodmere Place. Been a resident of Plainfield for over 35 years. Did I say I was a veterinarian?
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
You have to talk into the
Should I start again?
No.
Speak in the mic.
So, yes, we have deer once again in Plainfield. They are native and they were here before we were. And we should expect that they will continue to be here unless we kill them all and wall off the city. And that's not an action that I am recommending. Thanks to the hunting lobby in Union County and their supporters in Union County government, deer management in Union County has equaled deer killing. There is no need for deer killing in Plainfield. There is a need, however, for peaceful coexistence with wildlife in Plainfield. I am for that. Please don't bamboozle us or be bamboozled by claims of saying that deer must be slaughtered due to concerns of Lyme disease, deer-car collisions, or destruction of environment. I'm not making light of those things, but in Plainfield, they are really not issues. And the studies that the county has done, the park system, where they have counted deer by spotlight counts, and then one day, and then have extrapolated the numbers in the Cushing Road Detention Basin, that's garbage science, garbage studies. The deer slaughter that took place this past winter in the Cushing Road Basin was instituted by you solely, purely to placate some residents who complain apparently ferociously about deer eating their shrubbery. And here we are not talking about residential plantings, not understory, not native plants, not endangered plants. The slaughter of the 10 deer, stately and gentle creatures, was violent, cruel retribution for eating shrubbery, and meaningless too, for who could say that the deer who were slaughtered were the individuals who had eaten the shrubbery of the complaining residents. In April 2018 at the Plainfield Library, our committee, the Animal Initiative Committee, sponsored a well-attended presentation by Bruce Crawford, director of Rutgers Gardens, in which he discussed gardening strategies to help avoid conflict between the interests of deer and gardeners. These strategies involved the choice of plants, the arrangement of plants, the use of deer repellents, and physical barriers. We hope that this kind of information will help minimize conflicts between residents and deer. We hope that residents will accept a policy of peaceful coexistence with wildlife in Plainfield, but we know that there will always be complainers. Plainfield officials, you jumped on the killing bandwagon last year. Let's not do it again. Let's take the high road of peaceful coexistence. Let's be the good guys here. No blood should be shed for shrubbery. By the way, we obtained close to 100 signatures on our petition in favor of nonviolence, and these signatures were obtained at our events. In other words, we did not do any canvassing of neighborhoods. But we expect we could obtain a lot more signatures by canvassing, and we are not going away.
Thank you to the council. I'm Dr. Mary Wacholtz. I live at 601 Belvedere. You can't hear me. I'm Dr. Mary Wacholtz. I live at 601 Belvedere Avenue in the Netherwood Heights section. And I don't want to address what should be done about controlling the deer population. What I'm interested in is the disease burden that is associated with deer and what is going on in Plainfield. I know that anecdotally it seems as if the diagnoses are increasing. There are statistics for Union County, for example, but I'm interested in what is going on in this community. And as you've heard, there are people who have Lyme disease. It's treatable in many people. For some people, there are long-term consequences. But over the 25 years that I've lived here, we've gone from having the tick that carries Lyme to now having 6 species of tick, including I have a neighbor who has Rocky Mountain spotted fever, which 20 years ago was only found in the Mountain States. And we now have these disease burdens here. And so what I would ask the council is to think about how we can get more granular information about what's going on in Plainfield. Has this increased over time? And if there is a public health approach to trying to understand what's going on and to do something about it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Victoria Brown, and I live on Osborne Avenue here in Plainfield, and I've been a resident for 38 years. And the concern that I have as related to, it's really related to health. In my experience, normally I have 5 to 6 deer in my yard almost every day. And the concern that I have is the droppings, the feces. We're in close proximity to the Cook School. And many of the deer kind of congregate in that area where the park is. And of course, we have people that bring their children there. Some of the school children play in that area after school. And so the concern that I have is we certainly want to be humane in managing the deer, but I do think that the health issues are very important, and we need to determine in this community how we are going to manage the deer. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Good evening. My name is Mary Ellen Chanda. I live at 915 Hillside Avenue in Plainfield. Congratulations to the police, and also I'm very impressed with what the Recreation Department is doing here in Plainfield. I had no idea how far-reaching it was. Animal activist is one of the nicer names I have been called in my lifetime. It implies a willingness to speak out for those who cannot speak for themselves, and who are often at our mercy, and the deer are certainly in need of a spokesperson these days. As a Plainfield resident for many years, I have been proud and relieved to think that my city had not bought into the use of violence in dealing with a perceived deer problem, had never become part of the outcry that we must do something to eliminate the deer, had never advocated homicide for Hosta. And last year's deer slaughter shattered that cherished concept. I truly believe that we as a city were open to embracing other means of coexisting peacefully with all our wildlife. Despite many, many years of deer slaughter in surrounding towns, the outcry still persists that there are too many deer, that we have to get rid of them. Yet government wildlife managers have understood for a century or more that killing a significant portion of the deer population helps ensure more deer will be present for hunting in the near future. Hunters understand this and encourage these annual killing events. Feeding the hungry is certainly not their main goal. A vote for a deer kill is always a vote for inhumane treatment of animals, no matter what method is used, especially bow and arrow. Acting rationally and avoiding the anti-deer emotional frenzy that has been whipped up in our communities can help us take the most effective and humane steps in living side by side with our wildlife. They are often lured into and killed in the very areas designed to protect them. We need to show more, not less, compassion for animals and be willing to take the necessary steps to do so. Violence against them is not the answer, but just another step added to the problem. I'll end with two quotes. The first from Albert Schweitzer, an Alsatian theologian and medical missionary. A person is truly ethical or moral only when he or she obeys the compulsion to help all life which he or she is able to assist, and shrinks from injuring anything that lives. And the second from George Bernard Shaw, the playwright. The worst sin toward our fellow creatures is not to hate them, but to be indifferent to them. That's the essence of inhumanity. Thank you for listening.
My name is James Messina. I don't live in town. I come from Marsh County. I just came to listen. The chairman had asked my son, met him at the legal municipality meeting, and see if I would come up and just be here since you were having this meeting. Did you know that there were no deer in New Jersey back in 1900? Did you know that? Anybody know that? There were no deer in New Jersey in 1900. The legislature of New Jersey decided that it would be nice to have deer running in the woods. At that time, they legislated and started to introduce deer from Pennsylvania, Michigan, New York State, and some of the other states. So the deer that we have here is not native, okay? I was driving from South Carolina today, and I must have seen at least 20 dead deer on the side of the road. That's a lot of deer for roadkill. It's a lot of money spent too for the people who hit them. I have a wildlife biologist friend of mine in Hilton Head, South Carolina. He manages the forest in one of the plantations, about 5,000 acres. He has killed over a 20-year period almost 1,000 deer, and his problem is still there. Is it because the deer produce more? I don't think so. It's just that their reproduction rate is very fast. Birth control, there is research on it, but there isn't anything that comes close to being usable. And also, one of the things they have found out that you have to hit almost 100% of the deer to keep the population down. And that's for a female reproductive pill, if you want to say it. You know, killing deer is just a fact of life, and you're going to do it more and more. If you're going to keep our highway safe, community safe, here, I just couldn't believe that you had a deer problem here. I have worked Marsh County, Essex County, Hunterdon County, Warren County, so, you know, down in Princeton area, there's a lot of deer in Jersey. A lot of deer. Farmers kept the deer under control up to about 1950. After that, population just exploded. So the population we have now, the large numbers, only took from 1950 to today's time. And we've been overrun by deer in Marsh County for years. You go, you know, everybody says the deer will live in the forest, native vegetation. They don't need vegetation. Have you got into the forest lately? Into Watchung Reservation? You can go down on your knees and kind of look, and you can see to the other end because there's nothing growing from 5 or 4 feet down. You won't see any foliage. All our native wildflowers are gone. All our songbirds have no place to nest in the lower portion of the forest. How many people have thought about that? It is a problem.
Time is up, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Council President, there's time for one more 3-minute speaker.
You had your turn. No.
Wasn't this supposed to be for Plainfield residents only?
Residents is what you communicated to
Residents
us.
first. Residents first.
Pardon?
Residents first. Residents have first preference.
And residents only. There's information that needed to be clarified.
Motion to close public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Public hearing on this matter is closed. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Council President, I'd just like to make a comment about what we've heard. I want to thank all the residents on both sides of this issue. It's very interesting and useful information. And a lot of residents, because I guess I'm the second ward councilman, I hear a lot of input, both for the deer hunt and against it. And I just wanted to make my position clear on it and also comment on what we might do in the future. I think that we need to find a way to live in harmony with the deer, but I think we have to be concerned about overpopulation. For the reasons that were articulated, the health concerns I think are legitimate, and I think this last gentleman made some points that are of concern to me. I think because there's no natural predators for the deer, that there is the risk, and it's clear from observation that overpopulation is going to happen. So when that does happen, I think in terms of cruelty to animals, I think lack of food for overpopulation is going to be like a real hardship for deer. But I also think that the big issue for me is just like, how do we have policies that foster like an environmental balance? Because I do think, I do a lot of walking in the Watchung Reservation. I can tell you that what this last gentleman mentioned about there not being any underbrush and any understory in the Watchung Reservation is really true, and it's over the last 10 years it's changed dramatically. And in fact, there's less deer, I think, in the Watchung Reservation. I see much more deer in Plainfield than I do when I walk on the Watchung Reservation. And I think what we see up there is a reduction in wildlife diversity for the reasons this gentleman mentioned. Nesting, birds that nest on the ground really can't do that anymore. They're no longer in the Watchung Reservation. And I think we have to figure out a way to control the population. I think it's our responsibility. So the deer hunt, I think, is not, for me, should not be a one-shot deal, because I think a one-shot deal is not really going to be effective. I support another hunt, and I think there was also a comment about this new contraception. I think we should look into it. There will be a cost involved, but I think it's something that Plainfield should explore. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, consideration of public hearing, second reading, and final passage. Mr. Clerk, please read MC 2018-24 by title and further certify that the ordinance has complied with all statutory publication requirements.
MC 2018-24 is an ordinance to repeal and replace the sign regulations within sections 17:9-51, signs, and 17:11-7L, buildings, architectural non-residential standard awnings, and canopies of Chapter 17 of the Land Use Ordinance of the City of Plainfield. It's hereby certified that the notice of the public hearing on this ordinance was published in the Courier News on October 13, 2018.
The floor is now open to any member of the public who would like to speak on this ordinance. May I have a motion to close the public comment?
Nancy Beamer, 1129 Myrtle Avenue. I just have a quick question on this ordinance. Does this change anything about temporary signs? Do we have an ordinance about temporary signage and how long can temporary signs be put up? And does this have anything to do with that?
Yes, we do. We have an ordinance that deals with temporary signs. This does not change anything that we have right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
May I have a motion to close the public hearing on this ordinance? Second. May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance on second reading and final passage, and if adopted, the ordinance shall be published as required by law.
Motion.
Second. May I have a roll call, please?
Before you do the roll call question,
Its roll call has been called.
you didn't even give a chance for discussion or question, which is standard practice before we vote. After the second, right? After a motion second is a chance for discussion and questions.
What do you want to discuss?
So my question for the administration, the section about neon signs, was that changed after the planning board drafted their version? Was that one of the things that was changed?
Yes, it was changed. I've explained previously that the planning board makes a recommendation regarding ordinances and that the administration can make changes, and we did, and we presented that to council up on first reading, and that now it's before council for the vote.
What was the reason, what was the impetus or motivation to add that section?
We added that section because the businesses have asked for it.
Was it individual business owners, or was it any of our groups that represent the businesses that were
It was
making that request?
individual business owners in terms of groups that represents the businesses. I personally have been working closely with the CID. The CID has been focused on forming the organization and coming up with their goals for 2019.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Roll call on MC 2018-24. Council members Armani?
Yes.
Councilman Good?
Yes.
Councilman Hockaday?
Yes.
Councilman Storch?
No.
Councilwoman Tolliver,
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 opposed. This ordinance has been adopted on second reading and final passage.
Mr. Clerk, please read MC 2018-25 by title and further certify that the ordinance has complied with all statutory publication requirements.
This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 16, Vehicles and Traffic, One-Way Streets of the Municipal Code of the City of Plainfield, 1972, MC 2018-25. Certified that this ordinance was published in the Courier News on October 13th, 2018.
The floor is now open to any member of the public who would like to speak on this ordinance. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close the public comments?
Move.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance on second reading and final passage, and if adopted, the ordinance shall be published as required by law?
Move.
Second. Second. May I have a roll call, please?
Roll call on MC 2018-25. Council members Armati,
Yes.
Councilman Good,
Yes.
Councilman Huckabee, Councilman Storch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tolliver,
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
That is unanimous. This ordinance has been adopted on second reading and final passage.
Mr. Clerk, please read MC 2018-26 by title and further certify that the ordinance has complied with all statutory publication requirements.
MC 2018-26 is an ordinance authorizing the sale and conveyance Bogart Commerce Urban Renewal LLC, a New Jersey limited liability company of a property owned by the City of Plainfield, located at Block 250, Lots 2 to 9, commonly known as 130 West Front Street. It's hereby certified that the notice of the public hearing on this ordinance was published in the Courier News on October 13th, 2018.
The floor is now open to any member of the public who would like to speak on this ordinance.
Bernice Paglia, 124 East 7th Street. I'm very glad that this is happening because it's always made me wonder how the city got into the position of owning condos. And I'm hoping that the other condo was the Monarch situation. And at one point, they turned around and wanted to do the same thing and charge for maintenance of common areas, and I never heard the outcome of that. I don't know. It was supposed to be a free thing, but then it turned out they billed us. Does anybody recall or know what became of that?
I'm not familiar with it, but I can talk to you after the meeting.
Yes, we're still currently in litigation, already at the, what the developer refers to as additional costs that were never agreed to by the city. That includes CAM charges as well. So they've gone through a myriad of attorneys. They now are on their roughly 5th or 6th attorney on the case. And we are, our next step will be a binding arbitration on those fees. The city has always maintained that we are not liable for any additional overruns that the developer incurred.
Thank you. Carry on.
Seeing no one further, may I have a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance on second reading and final passage, and if adopted, the ordinance shall be published as required by law?
So moved. Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Roll call on MC 2018-26. Council members Armati,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Hockaday,
Yes.
Storch,
Yes.
Tolliver,
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
That is unanimous. This ordinance has been adopted on its second reading and final passage.
Mr. Clerk, please read bond 1265 by title and further certify that the ordinance has complied with all statutory publication requirements.
Bond ordinance 1265 is a bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 1259, finally adopted by the City Council of the City of Plainfield and the County of Union, State of New Jersey, on August 17, 2015, and entitled Bond Ordinance Providing for the Various 2015 Capital Acquisitions and Improvements by and in the City of Plainfield and the County of Union, State of New Jersey, appropriating $2 million thereof, and authorizing the issuance of $1,900,000 bonds or notes to the city to finance parts of the cost thereof, to amend the description set forth therein, and to amend the other provisions therein. It is certified that the notice of the public hearing on this ordinance was published in the Courier News on October 13th, 2018.
The floor is now open to any member of the public who would like to speak on this ordinance. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public comments?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance on second reading and final passage, and if adopted, the ordinance shall be published as required by law.
Moved.
Moved and second. May I have a roll call, please?
Roll call on bond ordinance 1265. Council members Armati.
Yes.
Councilman Good.
Yes.
Councilman Hockaday.
Yes.
Councilman Storch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Tolliver.
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom.
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
This bond ordinance has been adopted on second reading and final passage.
Public comments limited to resolutions and motions and ordinance to be introduced on first reading. A total of 30 minutes has been allocated for the public comments limited to regulations and ordinance being considered this evening. If you wish to be heard, please give your name and address to the clerk for the record. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes. The floor is now open.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Melissa Logan. I'm the president of the First Unitarian Society of Plainfield, 724 Park Avenue. I'm here to speak on the ordinance that stands before you, number MC 2018-30, accepting the donation of property from the First Unitarian Society of Plainfield located at 714 to 20 Park Avenue, block 713, lot 3. I'd like to begin by talking about our shared history. Plainfield's first mayor, Job Mayle, was the first president of our society. He donated the land at 724 Park Avenue to build our church. Mr. Mayle also donated the land to build our city's first library. At June of 1889, we were incorporated as the First Unitarian Society of Plainfield. Our historic building opened in 1892 and became known as All Souls Church. Within its doors, all souls, whatever their worldly circumstances or spiritual needs, found a welcome, a refuge, and a home. All Souls Church was built by the intellectual and economic elites of this community. Unitarianism at the time was the religion of the elite. Today, Unitarian Universalism is much closer to Jesus' most radical message, that each person is important, that all lives have value, and it is our most sacred responsibility to work for the benefit of all mankind. To this end, we are pleased to leave our historic property to the people of Plainfield for the benefit of all its people. From Mayle to Mayor Mapp, from the elite to all the people, we draw the circle wider. I stand here with great pride in our congregation for taking the steps that have brought us here today. It is difficult to let go of something, even when it's not working, even when it no longer serves its intended purpose, in order to bring the people from this neighborhood into our building, to let them have a voice and ownership. We, the liberals who no longer live here, need to get out of the way. The people from this neighborhood are already in our building, not just during the 1 hour we are here on Sunday mornings. It's time we handed you the keys. By getting out of the way, we're ensuring that the best people to care for this priceless treasure, our building, will be the ones to take ownership of it. This is the evolution of our religion. We are embodying the change in our own religion from being part of a white supremacist center of power to empowering all people. Our congregation has been in decline for some time. We can no longer afford to stay here, maintain our historic building, and live our mission. We are doing what I myself thought until very recently was the unthinkable. It was difficult for us to consider the possibility of the First Unitarian, not in Plainfield, not at 724 Park Avenue. But our congregation has come to 3 understandings. A clear understanding the ownership of a building is not our mission. A clear understanding that we have the opportunity to live into our mission. Every volunteer hour is not connected to the maintenance of the building. And a clear understanding that we're not able to meet the spiritual needs of the neighborhood in which our building stands.
Our congregation is our people, our caring for one another, and our mission in the larger world. We are ready to live into our mission, to feed the human spirit, to inspire compassionate action, and to serve as a beacon of justice and love. And we are grateful to have the opportunity to hand over our legacy to the city of Plainfield, who we know will be careful stewards. Thank you so much for listening.
My name is Joyce Attila Phipps. I live at 1200 Martine Avenue. I came here to speak about deer management, but when I noticed your agenda this evening, I saw an item that kind of caught my eye that I'd like to speak to very shortly. And it's about the resolution authorizing the Plainfield Police Department to donate holsters and magazine pouches to the Philippine National Police.
Excuse me, that has been pulled?
That has been approved.
It will be pulled.
That has been pulled. I'm glad to hear it, considering what the Philippine National Police is doing to its people. Thank you.
Nancy Piva, 1129 Myrtle Avenue. I was also going to speak on that ordinance, and I appreciate the fact that you pulled it. But I'd like to also speak on R35818. I appreciate that the council in this town is going to urge the man that wants to rape the forest on immigration. Two sides of my family were immigrants, and it always bothers me now to consider what they had to run away from in order to come and find a better life and to give the rest of the family a better life. And I appreciate what the council's going to do on this ordinance. Thank you very much.
Seeing no one further, can I have a motion to close public comments? So moved. Can I get a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Are there any questions on resolution R332-18? May I have a motion? So moved. Can I get a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Will the business administrator please present his items for consideration this evening?
Yes, Council President, the Business Administrator's Office is presenting resolutions R33-18 through R337-18.
Are there any further questions?
Councilwoman Tolliver?
None.
Councilman Hockaday? No questions. Councilman Good? None, Councilman Storch?
No.
Councilman Omani?
No questions.
Councilwoman Ransom?
No.
May I have a motion to approve resolutions R333-18 through R337-18? So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion. Will the corporate counsel please present your items for consideration this evening?
Thank you, Council President. Corporation Counsel's Office offers the following three items, R338-18 through 340-18. Are there any questions from Council?
Councilwoman Tolliver?
No.
Councilman Hockaday?
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Councilman Good?
No, Councilman.
Councilman Storch?
No questions.
Councilman Hockaday?
No questions.
Councilwoman Ransom?
No questions.
May I have a motion to approve resolutions R333-18 through, no, the 340-18.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Will the Department of Finance please present their items to be considered this evening?
Thank you, Council President. Department of Finance presents resolutions R341-18 through R345-18. Any questions?
Councilman Tolliver?
Question on 341, could you just give a little explanation for that, please?
Yes, this is a project where we are looking to do a couple of things. We are looking to take lots of paper, cards, property cards and other matter, and make them available online. And by doing that, we're hoping to recover a fair amount of space. Yeah, we got file cabinets in a number of our divisions that at this point in time, with all that's available technology, make it unnecessary. So we're trying to recover space. We're also trying to make sure that we have more access regarding our properties available at the fingertip. So we're going to take a lot of the historical information and put it online so that it's retrievable. And this includes immigration directly into Mitchell Humphrey. You know, there was an a development done where there'll be a tab. So a person just touches the tab, and all of that historical information that's in a file cabinet today or on a card is now readily available online.
Okay.
So this is a pilot. So this is to only partially go after all of the millions of pieces of paper and cards that we have.
And it'll be user-friendly to the public?
That is correct.
So this should cut down some of the costs to the city by getting rid of some of this paper.
I'm gonna put it this way, it's going to certainly make us far more technically efficient and effective than we may have been historically, because we don't have to do all of the things that we need to do in order to understand where all the information is and what that information says. So you don't have to get up from your desk and go to a cabinet or anything else. The intent is to make it centrally available.
Thank you.
Mr. Hockaday. Mr. Good.
Mr. West, are those hard copies going to be destroyed, or will they be continue to be stored?
We are working closely with the Office of the Clerk, because you need approval from the state before you can get rid of documents. You know, but part of the intent is also to now manage our content and to know that at certain points in time we can get rid of documents. So that'll be part of the initiative, particularly not so much in this pilot phase, but when we go and attack the annex and other places where there are documents we know to be far older than what we need to be retaining.
Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. George.
No question.
Mr. Armadale.
Just to follow up on 341, is it a one-time fee, or do you foresee there being like additional costs or service fees down the road?
This is a pilot. This is only the beginning. Okay. You know, when all is said and done, this kind of thing will run probably $1 million. But before we get that far, we want to do a pilot, make sure we got the right answers in place, and then we're going to take a bite of it over the course of time. So you'll see additional money budgeted in 2019 and out into the years, because the annex is the biggest hurdle we have in front of us.
Thank you.
Mr. Mills Ransom.
No question.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve resolutions R34118 through R34518?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any extensions? At this time, I will entertain a motion to withdraw resolution R34618, which is the one to send the magazines and clips to the Philippines.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any extensions? Okay. Motion kills. Will the business administrator please present the items listed under the fire department?
Yes, Council President, Fire Department is presenting R34718. If there are any questions?
Ms. Tolliver?
None.
Mr. Hockaday?
No.
Mr. Good?
None.
Mr. Stewart?
No question.
Mr. Armadale?
No questions.
Ms. Mills Ransom? May I have a motion to approve the resolution R347-18?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Passes. Will the Department of Public Works please present their items to be considered this evening?
Yes, Mr. Council President, members of the council, Department of Public Works is presenting resolutions R348-18 through R350-18. Are there any questions?
Ms. Tolliver?
None.
Mr. Hockaday?
No, good work.
Mr. Good?
No questions, Council
Mr. Storch?
No question.
Mr. Armadale?
No questions.
Mills Ransom? May I have a motion to approve resolutions R348-18 through R350-18?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passed. Will the Department of Economic Development please present their items to be considered this evening?
Good evening, Council President and council members. The Department of Economic Development presents resolutions 351-18 through resolution 356-18. Are there any questions?
Ms. Tolliver?
None.
Mr. Hockaday? Mr. Good?
No questions, Council President.
Mr. Storch?
On 351, do we have an update based on a conversation I had with Ms. Jackson this afternoon?
Yes. Attached to the resolution that was submitted was last year's budget. We have for you 2019 budget. The budget that the CID is submitting is for $221,323.
And could you, this is for the New Year's budget, so could you just give us like an overview of what's different, what's new, the new direction that we seek to go in with this new CID that we reconstituted?
Yes, the new CID has become official. It's the Plainfield Central Business District Management Corporation. And they're in the process of hiring an executive director. So that is different. They are interviewing this week. They have a number of resumes. So they're looking at hiring an executive director. The second thing is they have aligned their goals with the Main Street New Jersey program. And so they'll be dealing in 4 areas for next year: organization, design, meaning design of stores and businesses, promotion and marketing, and economic vitality. So they'll be looking at cameras and awning and paint and just the beautification of properties. So that's what's different for the CID this year. They had a workshop a few months ago to kind of outline their goals for 2019, which we will be sharing with you at a later date.
Thank you for the update, and I look forward to the closer alignment of the CID and the city itself.
Yes, we are definitely working together. I meet weekly with the new president and vice president. The president is Jeff Spellman of the Coffee Box. The vice president of the District Management Corporation is Donna Albanese.
Mr. Amani?
No questions.
Ms. Ransom?
I guess I'll just say, as the council liaison to it, they don't see it anymore?
Yes, it's the District Management Corporation.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve?
I'm sorry,
It's in there, Plainfield.
yeah. No, there's another resolution that I wanted to bring up. Could we get an explanation on, there's 2 resolutions on the brownfields work that we're doing, and particularly on R355. So could we get an explanation of that particular site and what the city is thinking for the future there?
The Brownfield program, we have 2 grants. One is from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, and we also have a grant from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. And in brownfields, there are kind of 4 steps: preliminary investigation, site investigation, remedial action work plan, and then the final step is actually remediation of the property. As it relates to R355-18, we will be looking to come before you sometime in December or January to look at the Cleveland area as an area in need of redevelopment. What we're doing on the city property is trying to get it to a point that it will be remediated and that we can turn it over to a developer for the area.
Thank you, and I think it's a great initiative. I think this came up, some of you may remember, under the McWilliams administration. This was an area that was looked to be redeveloped, and then it kind of fell by the wayside. So I'm glad we're getting back to it, because it's right by the downtown train station, and it's got a lot of potential. Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve resolutions R351-18 through R356-18?
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Will the Department of Health and Social Services please present their items to be considered this evening?
Thank you. Good evening, Council, President and Council. The Department of Health and Social Services presents the following for consideration: Resolution 357-18 through Resolution 359-18. Are there any questions?
Ms. Tolliver?
None.
Mr. Hockaday?
None.
Mr. Good?
None, Council President.
Mr. Stewart?
No questions.
Mr. Almighty?
No questions.
No granted?
No questions.
May I have a motion to approve resolutions R357-18 through R359-18?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? Introduction of ordinance on first reading. We now come to ordinance on first reading. Mr. Clerk, will you please read ordinance MC 2018-27 by title?
MC 2018-27 is an ordinance amending the schedule of salaries and wages adopted pursuant to Article 14, Chapter 11, the Municipal Code of the City of Plainfield, New Jersey, 1971, and this is a salary amendment.
Are there any questions from the council? Ms. Tolliver?
None.
Mr. Hockaday?
No.
Mr. Good?
None.
Mr. Stewart?
No.
Mr. Almighty?
No.
Mr. Mills Ransom?
Nope.
Okay, I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading. Is there a second? Can I get a motion?
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Clerk, may I have a roll call?
Roll call on MC 2018-27. Council members Armati?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Hockaday?
Yes.
Storch?
Yes.
Tolliver?
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom?
Yes.
Council President McCray?
Yes.
This ordinance has been adopted on first reading. MC 2018-28 is an ordinance of the City of Plainfield adopting a redevelopment plan for the South Avenue East redevelopment area.
Are there any questions from the council? Ms. Tolliver?
None.
Mr. Hockaday?
I do not.
Mr. Good?
None.
Mr. Storch?
Yes, it's not so much a question, it's just a concern. In this redevelopment plan, it calls for fuel sales. And I know that, speaking not just for myself, but a lot of people in the neighborhood that are looking for redevelopment along South Avenue in this area to be like more pedestrian friendly and more like boutique-y. And this particular development calls for fuel sales. And we have plenty of opportunity for people to gas up on either side of this, on the Terrell Road and Leland Avenue. So I just, it troubles me that we're looking to do development that would include fuel sales. So I was kind of hoping that we would follow the plan that the Rutgers students had developed in conjunction with our planning department years ago, but I think this is a bit of a different twist that I don't favor.
Okay, two comments. The first comment is that it's retail convenience with fuel cells. The plan does not allow for fuel cells by itself. We have created the plan so that it's as flexible as possible to minimize the number of amendments. The second thing is I need to make a correction for the record. We submitted one correction that didn't make your agenda, and that is the definition of retail convenience. A retail store not larger than 5,100 square feet. I have copies for the clerk of that page. What was submitted says a retail store not less than 5,100 square feet. It should have said not larger than 5,100 square feet. So I wanted to put that on the record.
Mr. Hamadi?
No questions.
Ms. Mills Ransom?
No questions.
Okay. I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading.
Second.
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 May I have a roll call, please?
Roll call on MC 2018-28, council members Armati.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Hockaday.
Yes.
Storch.
No.
Tolliver.
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom.
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 opposed. This ordinance has been adopted on first reading.
Mr. Clerk, will you please read ordinance MC 2018-29 by title?
MC 2018-29 is an ordinance adopting amendments to the TODD West redevelopment plan.
Are there any questions from the council? Ms. Tolliver?
No.
Mr. Hockaday? Mr. Good?
Can someone please explain this?
Yes, we already have a resolution for TODD West redevelopment plan. We amended the plan to add the city parcel 225 to 231 West 2nd Street. And we've increased the density in the plan in terms of recommendations going from 8 stories to 10 stories. And so those are the major changes associated with the plan.
Thank you. Ms. Storch?
No questions.
Mr. Ahmadi?
No questions.
Ms. Mills Ransom?
No questions.
May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading?
Move.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Roll call on MC 2018-29. Council members Armati.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Hockaday.
Aye.
Storch.
Yes.
Tolliver.
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom.
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
This ordinance has been adopted on first reading.
Mr. Clerk, will you please read ordinance MC 2018-30 by title?
MC 2018-30 is an ordinance accepting the donation of property of the First Unitarian Society of Plainfield located at 714 through 720 Park Avenue, Block 713, Lot 3.
Are there any questions from the council? Ms. Tolliver?
None.
Mr. Hockaday?
None.
Mr. Good? Mr. Storch?
No question.
Mr. Armani?
No questions.
Ms. Mills Ransom?
No questions, just a statement. Having had an opportunity to go visit, thank you so much.
Okay. I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading.
Second.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Roll call on MC 2018-31. Council members Armati.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Hockaday.
Yes.
Storch.
Yes.
Tolliver.
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom.
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
This ordinance has been adopted on first reading.
Mr. Clerk, will you please read ordinance MC 2018-31 by title?
MC 2018-32 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 9, License, Permits, and Regulated Activities, Article 9, Public Entertainment, Public Events, Section 7, License Fees Exceptions.
Are there any questions from the council? Ms. Tolliver? Mr. Hockaday? Mr. Good?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to know what the amendments are. Can someone tell me?
Actually made a mistake, I went to 32. We did not do 31 yet, so if we could discuss 32 and then go back to 31 afterwards.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you said you skipped 31?
Yes, you skipped 32.
That 31 is what I would like to know, the amendments.
We're doing 32 now.
We're doing 32, go back to it.
We'll go back to 32.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Storch?
You're asking me about 32?
Yes.
Yes, just could we get a quick explanation of it?
Basically, when individuals want a fee waiver for public events, they have to show good cause, they have to show that they're a non-for-profit organization. And if good cause is shown, that goes to the business administrator, and the recommendation is given to the council. Prior to that, there were really no parameters set in place for fee waivers to come through the council. And there was also a caveat that was added that if the event is sponsored or co-sponsored by the city of Plainfield, that the fees are waived.
Thank you.
Mr. Bond?
No questions.
Mr. Mills answer? I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading.
So moved.
May I have a roll call, please?
Roll call on MC 2018-32. Council members Armati,
Yes.
Councilman Good,
Yes.
Councilman Hockaday,
Aye.
Councilman Storch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tolliver,
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom,
Yes.
and Council President McCray.
Yes.
Unanimous, MC 2018-32 has been adopted on first reading. And now we can go with 31, is an ordinance to amend Chapter 9, License, Permits, and Regulated Activities, Article 15, Vehicles for Transportation of Passengers, Part 2, Taxi Cabs.
Are there any questions from the council? Ms. Tolliver?
None.
Mr. Hockaday? None. Mr. Good?
And once again, can someone tell me what those amendments are?
Currently, our city ordinance caps us at 50 cabs in total for every cab company in the city of Plainfield. After discussion with the Plainfield Tax Association, they all agreed that that number was not enough for their fleet to be able to accommodate the size and residents of the city of Plainfield. So the number that they came up with was to allow every cab company to have up to 20 cabs in their fleet. That doesn't mean that they are going to have 20 cabs, but they can have up to 20. And it also sets the current number of cab companies at 4, and there are currently 4 cab companies.
Okay, I understand that. I'd just like to ask the director a question. Is there still an issue with the outside cab company at this time?
Not to my knowledge. I'm sure there's always issues, but I haven't had anything brought to my attention recently.
I'm almost certain that they changed the name of their company.
Like I said, there's been nothing brought to my attention recently. No major complaints or concerns recently.
And also, if you recall, one of the major complaints that the other cab companies had and that residents had was that there was not enough cabs in the city of Plainfield, and that's why they had to call outside cabs. So this is addressing that concern as well.
So now they are allowed, or is that still?
No, now our cab companies in Plainfield are allowed to have more cars.
Thank you.
Council President, I just want to add that this in no way changes any of the enforcement regulations that we have in place or any of the inspections or requirements that existing taxi companies still have to comply with. So it's not changing any of the regulations.
Mr. Storch?
No questions.
Mr. Amati?
No questions.
Mr. Mills Ransom? I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading.
Moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Council members Armati,
Yes.
Councilman Good,
Yes.
Councilman Hockaday,
Yes.
Councilman Storch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Toller,
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
This ordinance has been adopted on first reading.
Mr. Clerk, will you please read bond 1266 by title?
On 1266, the bond ordinance number 1260, finally adopted by the City Council of the City of Plainfield and the County of Union, State of New Jersey on April 11, 2016, and entitled Bond Ordinance Providing for Various 2016 Capital Acquisitions and Improvements by and in the City of Plainfield and the County of Union, State of New Jersey, appropriating $2,333,500 thereof, and authorizing the issuance of $2,216,725 bonds or notes of the city to finance a part of the cost thereof, to amend the description referred to in section 3I therein, to reallocate $87,000 capital funds and apply them to a sanitary sewer extension project on Oakwood Place.
Are there any questions from the council? Councilwoman Tolliver?
None.
Councilman Hockaday?
None.
Councilman Good?
No, Council President.
Councilman Storch?
I just want to say thank you to the administration for recognizing the need on Oakwood Place for the sewer line.
Councilman Armati?
No questions.
Councilman Mills Ransom? I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Roll call on bond ordinance 1266. Council members Armati,
Yes.
Councilman Good,
Yes.
Councilman Hockaday,
Yes.
Councilman Storch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Toller,
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
This ordinance has been adopted on first reading, and a public hearing on all these ordinances will take place at the next regular meeting, Tuesday, December 11th, 2018.
Okay. A total of 60 minutes has been allocated for all public comments to be presented. If you wish to be heard, please give your name and address to the clerk for the record. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed will be limited to 5 minutes. The floor is now open.
Thank you. Timothy Briano, Martine Avenue. I'm coming here again for Ducre School of Art. More than 60 days ago, I spoke to each and every one of you that no one's reached out to us. Again today, we had offered to move to Broadway. We have asked the city of Plainfield to assist us, to do things for us, to promote us, to be involved with the oldest art school in New Jersey. But again, the County of Union freeholders have reached out. They're giving us grants. They're helping us. We hear nothing from the city of Plainfield. So where does that leave us? It leaves us that no one responds to our requests. We're still waiting for finals on performance bond that has completely went quiet to the resolution to it. No response from the city, just keeps it, pushing it along. So I just publicly saying, when will somebody reach out to Ducre School of Art? That's all we ask for is cooperation. Thank you.
Council President, I just wanted, for the record, indicate that the administration, including myself and some of our division heads, have met multiple times with Mr. Priano in reference to the Ducre School of Arts. The administration is currently and continues to look for ways to promote the arts in Plainfield. We recognize that in order for us to be able to continue the economic development that is taking place, the arts has to be a part of it. In that regard, we can check how many times the Ducre School of Arts and all the programs that they have currently going at their location has been included in all our newsletters whenever they submit it to us. We do email e-blast to our contacts. So we are currently trying to work with the Ducre School of Art, and we will continue to do that. Obviously, yes. I mean, there is going to be always other towns, other municipalities, including towns in Union County, that I'm going to reach out to some of our business owners, some of our arts, some of our museums, and try to entice them to go to the towns. I mean, we are here to say that the administration continues and will continue to help promote the arts. We recognize that the arts is a vital part of the economic development in the city of Plainfield.
Thank you.
I just want, I'm sorry, I'll hold my comments.
Nancy Puma, 1129 Myrtle Avenue. As most of you know, I've lived in this town all my life, born in Muhlenberg Hospital. I hope I say this correctly. In your infinite wisdom, and I appreciate everything that the city council does, the mayor does, and the city administration does. But 11 days ago, I took a trip down to Salem County. The reason I did that was because the State Health Planning Board had a hearing about Salem Memorial Hospital. It's supposed to be sold. We have a wonderful developer over at Muhlenberg. Unfortunately, his hands are tied, and he cannot reopen that as a hospital because in whosever wisdom in the city or JFK or whatever, put deed restrictions on the land. The same developer is now petitioning the state of New Jersey to become the owner of Salem Memorial Hospital. They are going to, they asked the state to become a not-for-profit. They would like to open it up as a, I believe, 75-bed hospital. The hospital still is in operation because it was taken over by a for-profit company many years ago. It's just really disconcerting to me that for whatever reason, the city, in their infinite wisdom, made a decision to put those deed restrictions on because it's my firm belief that this developer would have been able to reopen that hospital as a 65-bed, 75-bed unit, just like he's doing down in Salem. Public hearing, State Health Planning Board will make a decision on December 6th. I probably will go down to that meeting. It's just really sad to me as a citizen of this town that for whatever reason, we are now locked out of having any kind of acute care. And with what's going on in this country right now, considering all the emergencies that are around, all the diseases that were talked about, it's just a shame that we're now locked out for a period of time. Thank you very much.
John E. Pritchard, formerly of 723 Arlington Avenue, Plainfield, now 42-44 West Holly Street, Cranford. Two things I'd like to say to the ladies and gentlemen of the council. This past November 11th, we celebrated Veterans Day. We got to back our men and women in our Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and Air Force as they do their duty to protect us and protect our freedom. We must back them up. We failed to do so during the war in Vietnam. During that time, 16 Plainfield sons lost their lives. When the survivors came back, they came back to people spitting on them and calling them Nazis, murderers, baby killers. I'd like to see that word Nazi retired once and for all. The poor brave soldier ne'er despise, nor count him as a stranger. Remember he's his country's stay in our danger. And the other thing, we need a hospital in Plainfield. We cannot afford to let it go down the drain. I'm not talking about head colds or earaches, I'm talking about people's lives. And then it's stupid, freezing up the developer who wants to make it into a 75-bed hospital, at least for a starter. We need to reactivate Muhlenberg. And the sooner we reactivate Muhlenberg, the better off we all will be. Do I make myself clear?
Right. Thank you, sir. Marie and Sari watching everything. I just wanted to clarify information given by the non-resident during the public hearing. White-tailed deer most certainly are native to New Jersey. The incident he referred to at the turn of the 19th and 20th century was when the deer were hunted nearly to extinction. It was at that time that the fledgling Fish Game and Wildlife was formed for the purpose of managing deer. They set quotas, they set hunting regulations to ensure that a hunting stock would always be there. But please know, white-tailed deer have been in New Jersey. They almost weren't, but through the management of Fish Game and Wildlife, they came to be again. The fact that Mr. Storch reacted so enthusiastically only to the last speaker really makes me wonder if decisions weren't already made and this whole public hearing was a way of throwing crumbs to us. Just my thoughts, please. Corey, if you see fewer deer in Watchung Reservation, it makes me wonder why 25 years later they're still killing, and in fact have extended that hunt from October through March now. So there are extended times. Surely, if they were killing them off, they should all be gone by now. I'd like you all to think about the tone of the public hearing. In my opinion, every speaker, even those who were speaking against the deer and against having their shrubs eaten, were respectful and had a certain peacefulness to them. I am sorry to say that our last non-resident speaker changed that tone totally. And I go back to what I ended with before. We can do this in a harmonious way, in a peaceful way. Animal issues divide communities. Please, no more hunting. Thank you.
Gloria Binkowski, Winter Place in Plainfield. 2 items. First, comment on Mr. Storch's comments. You know, the hearing was on deer management in Plainfield, not deer management in Union County or Watchung Reservation. So I wish you had confined your comments to Plainfield, which is what we're talking about tonight. And also, I think someone made a comment that there are no natural predators of deer, but there are, in fact, no natural predators other than humans. But bear are natural predators of deer. In fact, bear are predators of young deer. There have been communications from Penn State University stating that, well, we have to be careful now about the bear decimating our deer population. And perhaps that's one of the reasons that hunters in New Jersey, kind of in contrast to Governor Murphy, want to persist in killing bear. They want to preserve the deer population for themselves to eat. Thank you.
Denise Paglia, 124 7th Street. I was glad to see this taxi ordinance because I became a member of the taxi using public in 2008 when my old Ford Escort failed. And I made my gift to the driving public by taking myself off the road and becoming an advocate of walkability. So, but there are a couple things that they could, I hope people would still look into. There's supposed to be a senior rate. And I used to calculate what it would cost me to get from my house to Washington School. It should have been like $2.75, but they always charge $4, no matter what. And lately there have been no rate cards in the taxis. I don't know what happened to the rate cards. They haven't increased the rates for a really long time, so maybe I shouldn't ask. And when you go down Park Avenue, a lot of my medical providers have moved out of Plainfield. So if you went from Wendy's to Rock Avenue, it would be $4. But if you go on Park Avenue the same distance, it becomes $10, $15 each way. And I'm not sure how they calculate those rates, but it can add up if you have to go to the dentist and it costs you an extra $30. Talk about pain.
See, no one further for public comments. I have a motion to close public comments.
Move.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
We have one more.
I'm sorry, apologize. Michelle Tucker, 627 East 3rd Street, Plainfield. I just wanted to make a comment regarding the First Unitarian Church of, Unitarian Society of Plainfield. I just wanted to see a performing arts here in Plainfield. Currently, we've been volunteering, having different plays in Plainfield, and my thought is, why go to Broadway? Why go to Prudential Center? Why go to any performing arts when you can continue to bring performing arts here in Plainfield? So hopefully that will continue to be used and utilized with Empower Performing Arts, because it is a nonprofit theater based right out of here in Plainfield. So I just wanted to base my concern on that. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Councilman Mayor Matt. My name is Pastor Eric Wallace of Mile Baptist Church on Liberty Street, 216 Liberty Street, here in the city of Plainfield. I just wanted to make a comment of this kind to share with you all. I know recently they have been enforcing the no parking on the east side of the street, on Liberty Street, which I understand they have been parking for about 50 years. Understand the ordinance, and all we're just asking, as myself, if they would the police, somebody would come and kind of educate the community. We have a lot of elderly people in the 80s and 90s at the church, and we want to make sure that they're not pulling up and coming out and finding several tickets on their cars at 80 and 90 years old. So what we want to do is just prepare them, let them know. We understand the fire trucks, and the fire trucks are 10 feet wide, some volunteers fire department. And so we can kind of look at that and work on it, so that way we can have most of the people who are longtime residents of this great city, and so that they're not so conflicted, and they actually know what's going on and not confused. So I just wanted to see, I know, I see. Say something, thank you.
Okay. All right, great. Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? First, I'd like to welcome Assemblywoman Linda Carter to the audience. And now, Mayor Matt, do you have any comments?
Yes, Council President, thank you. I think it would be remiss of me if I didn't take the opportunity to commend Police Director Riley and our great police department for the fact that they have achieved accreditation status. I know that that was done early in the evening, but I thought it fit in as mayor of the city of Plainfield for me to express how much I appreciate the work that you have done, as well as the members of our PD, and that you have achieved this status is testament to your hard work and dedication, as well as to the work of the men and women of our Plainfield PD. And so I thank you, and I thank the Plainfield Police Department.
Welcome, thank you.
Council President and council members, I just wanted an announcement. We continue to support our small business community, and this coming Saturday, we are sponsoring and supporting a small business Saturday. And what we ask the residents to please consider doing is that's the day that we would like to see the residents come out and visit our downtown. There is plenty of great small business, restaurants, retails that have been here in the city of Plainfield for many, many years, and they've been carrying the small business community. So we want to support them on Saturday. So we encourage every resident to just come out and patronize the downtown. That's number one. Number two, Council President and residents, I want to reassure everyone that the administration continues to listen to our residents. The process that we undertook since 2014 on the Milner project, that took over 7 community meetings. We were listening to the community, and we take notes, we listen to what the community wants, and then we make a decision. Unfortunately, we were not able to bring a hospital back, and that was mainly because that hospital had been closed, which is the difference to the one in Salem County. So we continue to do that, and the reason the deer management program was put on the agenda with the support of the mayor and the council president and council members is because we wanted to hear the concerns of the residents. I want to assure everyone that no decision has been made. We have no plans of going back to the county program at this point. We are continuing to look for different programs, different alternatives, and we heard the community today loud and clear, and we will continue to look for ways that are effective and that support the entire, most of, the residents of the city of Plainfield. So again, I don't want anyone to think that this was just a show for us because we have a decision. There is no decision made. We wanted to hear the residents on both sides, and that's really what we were trying to get out of this.
No further comment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Council President, I wanted to respond to the concern expressed about the future of DeCray Arts School in Plainfield. I hope that the administration and the council gets behind. I think we have supported it, but I think if we have to compete with other municipalities to keep the DeCray School in Plainfield, I think we need to be actively doing that. I think that the school is a natural collaborator with our new Cultural and Arts Center, and I think the more that we can promote the arts, the more we're going to see a healthier community, more economic development, more job creation. I think all these things are connected. So anything we can do, whether it's the marketing that our business administrator mentioned, or collaboration on grants. It's not easy to support the arts these days anywhere, but I think we just need to really be in the game with them to keep them in town.
Third time.
Have a motion to adjourn? Moved. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting is now adjourned.
Yeah.